All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris Maynard. Those that don't know me, I'm a professional technologist, a technician. I belong to IPET. I belong to SAT, Society of Asphalt Technology. IPET, I'm an honorary fellow by the Institute of Professional Engineering Technologists. And I also belong to SAICI, which is a Southern African Institute of Civil Engineers. And I'm also ex-assessor, moderator, interviewer, and then sometimes I'll also get put on the appeal board. So that's me. Let's go to page 1. The next page you're on. Well, today we're going to talk about the toolbox, the tools documentation required for registration. Now, there's some documents you do require from ECSA website, and these documents are very important. So please use the ECSA website to obtain the required policy documents. It's on the website, or it's on the site there, but it's under the documents folder. Now, the required policy documents are your application form for registration as a professional engineering technologist. Then, please, you must read through these documents and study them well. It's a R01 policy PC. Now, that's a policy on the registration in a professional categories. Now, that's a general one for all categories that helps you along. Then you get the R02, which is standard. STA means standards. PE is for professional engineer. PT is professional technologist. PCE is professional certificate engineer. And PN is a professional technician. Competency standards for the registration in professional categories PE, PT, PCE, PN. Next page. Now, R03 Pro. Now that, please, you guys must also study. Now, that is a processing of application of your registration of candidate professionals. Now, your benchmark is your BSc for engineers, your BTech or advanced diploma, or BEng Tech, that is for technologists, and your diploma and your certificate diploma under correction, and the new one is that for technicians. Those are the only, your experience one with a few years in that you cannot become a candidate professional. Then R04 T&M Guide PC. That's a training and mentoring guide for your professional categories. Now, please, that you must also study and choose your mentor well. Then E17 PRO is a criteria and processes for recognition of educational qualifications for professional categories. This is more for the foreign categories, foreign qualifications, where it gets processed and they will tell you in what category you fall in. Then the last one at the bottom is your Professional Engineering Technologist Guide to Completion of the Registration Application Form. This is a very important document that is a guideline. Please download it and use it to complete your document. Now, all these documents are important. The most important policy document for your training is the R04 T&M Guide PC. That's a training and mentoring guide for your professional categories. Please study them and also read and make sure that you do follow it. This policy document is to be studied when going for an ECSA interview. This one is also very important when you go for your interview. It helps you, and it's a good guide. It's the RINT, which stands for interview, and guide 001. It's ECSA registration interviews guide. Okay, are you ready to register for registration? Now, before you start thinking about that, you need to go through certain documents and criteria. To check if you are ready for registration, go through document R02, STA, PE, PT, PCE, PN. I've already discussed what they stand for. Competency Standards for registration in professional categories, PE, PT, PCE, PN. Now, for your educational qualification requirements is the R17 PRO, criteria and processes for recognition of education qualifications for professional categories. They give you your benchmark and your foreign, how to go about your foreign qualifications. Now, application documents. Now, your application documents are the R01 POL PC policy on the registration in professional categories, and then your professional engineering technologist guide to completion of registration application form. There are also for technicians and for professional engineers. They've also got those guides. So please, if you're going to do one of those other applications, please make sure that you also download it and read through it. And remember, a lot of people do is they don't download the application form. So remember to download your application form and save it on your computer before you start writing. Now, there are certain degrees of responsibility before you can even start on your registration. Now, on page 10, table 1, summary of degrees of responsibility, that is on your RO2, STA, PT, PN, PCT, PT, PE, PT, PCE, PN document. There on the page 10, table 1 is the summary of degrees of responsibility that describes the degrees of responsibility while doing his or her duties. There are 4 columns that are important and are to be studied. DOR stands for degree of responsibility, the nature of your work, what type of work you are going to do there, and the responsibility. What is your responsibility? Are you just observing or looking? And if you're going to the higher levels, are you doing it yourself? Remember, the responsibility, although you're doing the design, is still your supervisor's responsibility to ensure that it is done correctly. And then a level of support. You'll get usually 100% support until to the higher levels where there's 0% support, where you're actually working on your own. So the degree of responsibilities, there are 5 degrees of responsibilities defined in that document. Level A is being exposed. You just see and you're actually learning by looking. Level B is assisting, you're helping out, but it's very limited. Level C, you're participating, but you've got a bit of more responsibility. And level D is where you contribute, where it's higher, and you're doing a lot of work, but you're still not performing on your own. Now, level E is where you are performing completely on your own, on your design. So note, level E is the responsibility level required for registration. D, C, B, and that does not, they do count, but they're not what we require. Level E is usually 1 year of responsibility. Okay, Johan?
So that level E is where you delegated full responsibility, Chris, is that correct?
Yes, you are delegated full responsibility of your work, yet you're working under the supervisor. But if something goes wrong, you are not held responsible. Your supervisor is held responsible for that. So that must be remembered at all times. Okay. Then your level descriptors is also in the ECSA document, the RO2. I'm just say page 10. There are 2 engineering stages stated. It's the level of engineering problem and the level of engineering activity. That's where your levels come in. There are level descriptor for engineering problems. There are level descriptors for engineering problems and activities for each of these 3 categories of registration. Okay, now we're going to talk about the different categories. There are 3 level descriptors. There are complex engineering problems, broadly defined engineering problems, and well-defined engineering problems, which are applicable for the various categories of registration. For registration PR engineer, PReng, it is a complex engineering problem. Registration as professional engineering technologist is a broadly defined engineering problem. And the registration as professional engineering technician is a well-defined engineering problems. Okay. Now, competency. Now, competency consists of 2 important components. Is your knowledge, your education, where you got your diploma, your degree, and your certificates. Now, training and experience, this is where you pick it up while you are working. Your knowledge component is your engineering education qualification, and this is required during your specialized engineering related activities where you learn. That's where you pick it up, and also while you're working. Now, training and experience component, it consists of a defined set of accessible outcomes So if you're doing a design, what are you going to design and to what level? Competency must be demonstrated within the applicable engineering outcome by integrated performance of the outcome and at the level defined for each outcome. So you work with those different outcomes and you have to strive to get them. That's where your mentor will help you and your supervisor. Where do I find the competency standards? You will find it under ECSA policy document RO2, STA, PEPT, PCE, PN, which is also titled as the Competency Standard for Registration in Professional Categories as PEPT, PCE, PN. I've not written the revision date because they do revise it continuously. So please make sure that you've got the right competency standard document when you're working with it. Now, table 7 defines the competency standards as on page 24. That is for professional engineer, that is for professional technologist and professional technician. PCE I will not discuss because it's got a complete different standard there. It is to do with the Mines and Works Act. Use this guideline to determine if you are at the required level of competency, and also you will use it to complete your registration application. Now, references is it's all ECSA policy documents that were mentioned and discussed in this presentation are required and should be referred to when you fill in your application for registration. So please do not just try and fill it in on your own. You can go through those documents. They are very well guidelines. Okay. And that's the end of it. It's just a short discussion. And there's any questions in our next talk, I'll talk on the educational qualifications, especially the benchmark ones and the ones that are required if you do not have the benchmark qualifications for the different categories of registration. Thank you. Okay, you are.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Adrian, have you joined us?
I don't see him.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Just for everybody's information, Adrian usually gives us a talk on leadership, on a short talk on leadership. We usually start with it, but he asked me today. He said he would not be able to join us at the beginning, and he might be able to join us later during the discussion. And that's why, if he was available, we would have asked him. In any case, now you have opportunity to ask any questions regarding today's talk, or if you've already been trying to fill in the application forms and you have trouble, or you have any questions about ECSA registration, you're most welcome to ask. Put up your hand or unmute yourself and ask your question.
Getzi.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you can come in. Okay. Can hear you.
Right. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not sure if everyone can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you, Getzi.
All right, thank you very much. My question is, I'm really at the beginning of my engineering career. I do have a BTech in mechanical engineering. And I would like, sorry?
Carry on.
Oh, yes. So I would like to understand that should I decide to register as a candidate technologist, and say after 3 years, I realize that I want to register, however, the problems that I've been involved in solving do not meet the required standards to be registered as a technologist. Can I then revert back to say, okay, they are, however, enough to be registered as a technician?
Okay. You can do that. If you register as a candidate technologist, they just need to know your qualification. As I said, you need to have a BTech or advanced diploma. Nowadays, it's still not, the people are getting on the new system, but you can register as a technologist. as a candidate technologist. Now, what you can do is you can see to what level. So how do you rate of your work that you're going to do that is not going to be up to the standard of a technologist? I'm asking you, how do you know that?
I think you just alluded to it in one of the documents there to say there is one that addresses the types of problems that a technician solves and the type of problems that a technologist is involved in. Yes.
All right, I'm going to explain it to you very simple. You see, a well-defined engineering activity is a person that is for a technician. They use guidelines. They don't divert a lot from the guidelines. You understand? So I don't know what field are you in, what discipline you're in. Are you electrical, mechanical, civil? And also which field are you working, consultants or as a contractor or in government?
I am a mechanical designer.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you something. When you're designing, what you're designing, pipelines, pipes or pipe work or pumps, what type of mechanical section are you working in?
I am in the railway industry, so it would be different components, it would be sub-assemblies.
All right, I'm going to ask John to discuss because he's the railway guy. John, come in quickly. He's the expert on that section there.
Well, it depends on what kind of work you're doing in the railway industry, whether you are doing, generally you are expected to be doing design work and solving problems, and at a competency standard. So you have to judge what kind of at what level you are working, and depending on where you're working and what level of responsibility you are given in your job. So it's at this stage it's very difficult for me to judge what you will be doing, because give yourself a bit of time and then talk to people who are registered and see what they're doing and how they got registered and what they were doing before they were registered. I would do that at this stage.
All right, thank you very much, John.
Muketsi, can I just come in there quickly? Muketsi?
All right.
Okay, what you must also do is, before you decide what you're going to do and what level you're on, already you're right in the beginning of your career. You just got your BTech now, am I correct?
It's been about 8 months, yes.
Okay, that's fine. So study that document and of RO2. That is one of your biggest, is your criteria documents that you go through. Read through that, look at the required standards, and look at the questions they're asking there. Because they ask you different questions for professional technician, professional technologist, and also for engineer. So look at what level and answer those. If you see you're not working at that level, go to your supervisors and say to them, please, I'm working on this level. I would like to become a professional technologist. Can we ensure that I can get the route to registration going through there? You're very, very in the start of your career as a technologist. So you've got the ample opportunity to discuss it with your supervisors to get to the level that you require. Does it make sense to you now?
It definitely
and plan
does.
your career path now already. Don't wait after 3 years and you find out, I've come here and I've done 3 years and I see I'm actually at the level of a technician or I'm lower than a technician, the type of work I'm doing. So discuss it with your supervisor and talk to them and tell them you would like to get to the level of technologist, and give them the time frames and the career path that you would like to do.
Right. Perhaps a follow-up to that is the amount of time that is required for one, or that would be considered enough experience. Say, for example, I'm mostly involved in modeling and producing drawings, and I realize that my involvement with mechanical calculations is minimal. Then I take the approach to say, okay, may I get exposure in, say, doing a structural analysis? What would be regarded as enough amount of time for that to be
Okay.
considered?
So
Yes.
read that document and plan it accordingly. Now on level E, so basically we post after you got your BTech or your advanced diploma, is the benchmark is 3 years. Of the 3 years, 1 year must be at level E of a responsibility. But usually I find the guys that do try, when I've done it, very, very seldom a person that is 3 years, straight away he wants to do his registration, unless he had been working previously as a technologist while he was studying his BTech, he was on that level. They do become registered. But I find the guys usually take about 4 to 5 years before they even think about registering.
Right. No, thank you
But
very much.
but it's not a fast rule, and it's not a rule of thumb. So please don't think you have to wait 5 years or 10 years. It's for you to decide. Am I ready? Have I got all my boxes ticked? And I'm confident to go and get registered, go and register. Okay. But the minimum is 3 years with 1 year of a responsible level of E. That is included in the 3 years. Okay.
Okay, who had their hand up first?
Angie's was after that, and then I think it was first to be Siswe, Sitole. He was first, and then Angie after that.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I did BNG Tech. Then I joined this company. Now on my payslip, they say I'm a site engineer. So basically what I'll be doing everything that an engineer does on site. It's construction company. So now as I'm registering, I don't know whether to register as a professional technologist or a professional engineer. Can I get assistance on that?
Okay, what have you got? What qualification have you got?
BNG Tech in civil engineering.
BNG Tech.
Yes.
Is that right? So that's under the new qualification, am I correct? Have you got 3 years of experience?
No, I just finished last year. I came into construction now.
All right. So that route there, if I remember right, you have to study another year before you can go and register for the PRN. Otherwise, you can stay with the BNG Tech as a benchmark, and you have to have 3 years experience, inclusive the minimum of 3 years experience with level E, responsibility of 1 year.
Oh, okay.
So in other words, with the BNG Tech, that is the benchmark qualification.
All right. So now if I go to
the BNG Tech is the benchmark qualification because for registering as a professional engineering technologist, because the BTech has been discontinued. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now I want to ask you something. You're working for contractors, am I correct?
Come again. I think
I say you're working in the construction industry, a contractor, am I correct?
yes. I'm working in the construction industry. Yeah. Yes, as a
Okay.
contractor.
All right. So when you go and start your work, look at that RO2, but also download your document, your application form. Not just fill in now, but go through it, and you will. And I can tell you now, you're going to say, but outcome 1, 2, and 3, 9, and 10, I'm going to battle with. That's designing. It's not a thing to do there. So you have to think further. Anything you design, it doesn't mean you have to go and work for consultants. When you're working on site, consultants give you drawings, you check the drawings, and you see there's, for instance, there's something that is not right, or it's very difficult to build or to construct, you redesign it. That falls under designing. Temporary works, construction works, and contractors also do permanent works designs. That falls also under design. So please, guys, do not think because you work for consultants, not consultants, you work for contractors or government departments, and that you don't do designing. If you're working in government departments, you get drawings to be given to you. You use the checklist, but you also apply your mind to say why a design will not work. And you redesign it and you look according to that. So please think about it that way. Okay, does it help you out? Tobisa?
All right.
Tobisa?
Yes, thanks very much.
Okay, but get your forms filled in now already. If you finish a task, get your TERs also completed now. Do not wait after 4 years to try and remember. Your supervisor can sign it off. It doesn't matter the date, that it is your work that you're doing. Okay. I think Angus?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Maynard. I have a little bit of a situation. I have a BTech in civil engineering. I got it in 2017. I registered as an engineering technologist in 2018. So, but I couldn't renew my membership. So I got deregistered. So I just want to find out is when I want to re-register, do I go through the same the same? Okay.
I do get those too there. That does happen.
Okay.
I do get those, but it's quite easy a process. I just did the other one the other day. You fill in about 3 forms, am I right? It's your application form, you pay the monies, and then you give it a short description and you get one referee. Now that short description, please don't just fill it in, write out on an extra page and attach it what you did when you became deregistered to the period of when you want to register again now.
Okay.
Give a good description. If you give a good description, then you will not get called into an interview.
Oh.
And your supervisors must sign it off to say yes, that you did do that work.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And if you do get an interview, you will get interviewed on all 11 outcomes. I've done those interviews, but we usually pick it up very fast and it's very quick and done with and dusted, done and dusted. It's not the same as your original nerve-wracking interview. Did you go the alternative route before you finished your BTech?
Sorry?
I said, did you go the alternative route? Because you said in 2017 you had your BTech, in 2018 you became registered as a professional technologist.
No, it's actually an engineering technologist.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes. Candidate, sorry, it's me who's giving the wrong information.
You're getting a candidate.
Yes, sorry. No, I'm surprised.
Don't worry, you can apply again for a candidacy. But you said in 2017 you finished. Why didn't you register for professional technologist now?
Okay, so I wanted to know if it's possible to do that, or do I need to fall back to that same status and then so that I can, okay.
No, you can register now already Because we're talking about it's over 4 years now.
Over
Am
4
I
years,
correct?
yes, yes, yes.
So just go through those documents I said now,
Okay,
discuss them, and make sure that you're on the level that you require. Now,
okay.
candidates, it doesn't matter. You can get it to be deregistered. It doesn't matter.
Ah,
Really.
okay.
Or what they're going to do now is instead of charging you 4.5, they're going to charge you 8. So I think a total amount of 8,700 to register. So
Okay.
it won't be held against you.
Okay.
Angus.
All right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Maynard.
Okay. Kaletsu.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yes. So I did my BTech a long time ago. Never been registered because I worked in research and now I'm in academia. I'd like to register. I have a PhD now. So are there any guidelines that we need to follow as we work in research and academia?
All right. Your problem is your design, am I correct? You don't know how to go about your design. Am I right?
Yes.
But you can. Remember, when you're doing research, I don't know what type of research you were doing, but you had to design certain things. You had to design new techniques in that to be able to work on your data. That's designing also. What was the problem? Remember, outcome 1, it talks about define, investigate, and then your, I don't know what's the last one, but it's 3 components there. So what was the problem? That's what's defining. What was the problem? When you're doing the research, you had to define a problem. You couldn't just go into research, am I correct?
Yes.
Where did you get the information? How did you collect the information? So you were collecting information for that research. Before you even started you had to collect certain data to make sure that you're not reinventing the wheel. Am I correct?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. And then your assumptions. You made assumptions to say, yes, this data, I'm going to get this answer. But that's what you're talking about. Now, outcome 2 is where you're designing. So that is your information that you got there and your research, and that gave you certain information, and you designed there to say, yes, this is what I got. And I looked at, when you're doing the research, you're not lucky to hit it the first time. If you hit it the first time, it's always jackpot, and we would have had many options of solving problems. Am I correct? That's why research takes so long.
Okay.
So what were the options you looked at there? You looked at certain options, and then you chose the one option. Why did you choose it? Because it might have been economically viable. It could have given you better answers, and it was giving you the outcomes that you were wanted to have. You understand? So think of it that way. So don't think you are limited. Although you're not working in the mainstream industry, you're working there, you're doing the research. Then when you come to programming and that, if you're not sure, you talk to colleagues in the industry that in your field of research is. You talk to them and find out about project management. But you should have done project management, because while you're doing the research, you've got time frames and that. And
I did do project management as a course.
Yes, but you had to apply it in your research also. Although sometimes it doesn't work out like that.
Yeah.
Construction and consultants, it's the same.
So with regards, so do I still start at candidate?
No, you can do it directly.
Come again?
You don't need to go and register as a candidate.
Okay.
You can do an application directly for Technologist. Only difference is if you've got a candidate, you pay about 4,500, and when you do your registration for to become an engineering technologist or engineering technician or professional engineer, then you pay only half of the fees. Now you will pay the full fees as if it's candidate and registration of technologist or technician or engineer.
Okay.
So you don't have to go through that route. But please read the document RO2 and the requirements there.
So we include.
Tables will help you a lot there on your level
So
outcomes
I
that you
include
have to
all
do.
the projects that I did. That's what you are meaning at this
Yes, on
point.
the TER form. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, it's a pleasure.
Okay,
See-
Thomas Iswe raised a hand.
Yes. Or is it an older hand? Mr. Sitole? Is it an older hand?
Unmute yourself and talk.
I see Cedric coming. Cedric, you can join Cedric coming.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, Cedric.
Okay. Okay, say now I register for Technologist, then I decide to do my honors, upgrading from my BH Tech, from BH Tech degree to honors. Will I have to, by doing so, will I qualify to register as a professional engineer, or I'm still a technologist with honors on BH Tech?
You can register, if I remember right, the route is that if you do your honors in there, you can register as a professional engineer.
Okay, then say I start now, will I have to start afresh with my logbook, if I can say, or there will be some, I'll just change the name from technologist to engineer? Do I have to start afresh, like that 4 years or 5 years again?
But you have to, that's your decision on that. You have to prove to them that you were doing complex engineering activity while you might be doing your honors and that. I'm not too sure how they're going to do that, because it's a new thing that it's happening now, but there is a route to follow there through.
What you need to do is to make sure that you are doing the right further qualification, whether it's honors, that you're doing the correct honors that will be accepted for registration as a PRN. And then also you need to, for a period of time, be doing complex engineering work, although I don't think they will require you to be doing that for 3 years after your honors. So, but you would be able, you would have to prove that you satisfy all the outcomes. And a lot of the work that you've done so far would be acceptable for you to satisfy some of the outcomes and time constraints that are required for registration as a PRN. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks.
I say Dr. Sina. Dr. Sina, you can come in.
Can you hear me now?
Now, yes.
No, actually, Cedric raised a very good question. ECSA has introduced honors and professional master in University of Technology. So BTech graduates can also try to become a PRN. So honors is the pathway for PRN, but only after getting honors, he or she cannot apply. He has to complete professional master, which is on NQF level 9. After that, he can apply for a candidate engineer. Eventually, he can go for professional engineer. But still, all the University of Technology are busy developing course modules for professional master. Every university has research master, but not at the moment professional master. I am at UNISA, so I am trying to help to develop professional master, but honors we have started, and number of my graduates are going to be graduated in this month. So only after honors, he or she cannot apply for PRN. He must have professional master. Professional master is a practice-based program. We give the problem-based questions which involve lot of construction visit at the site. So this is the new, but still it hasn't been tested. But ECSA Council has approved. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Sina, for coming on that. It's much appreciated. Cedric, I see you want to talk quickly.
Hi, everyone. I just want to know, let's say you've got a mentor, but let's say I specialize in structures. And let's say I've got my main mentors, maybe specialized in water and public works, that sort of thing. Can I get a second mentor to just help me with the structures part, or should I have a single mentor that sort of oversees everything?
Okay, it's for you to decide which mentor you want to have. If are you working currently in water now at the moment?
So doing structures at this moment.
Are you doing structures for a company that specializes in water? Am I correct?
Yeah, so I'm doing more the structures wing, but my mentor is doing more the water side. So I just wanted to know, I'm just scared I'm going to end up down the road and they said, no, but you should have had a structural mentor or a specialized structural mentor, that sort of thing.
I'd advise you to get a structural mentor if you want to go into structures, because your water mentor might be able to help you to a level with your structures, but after that, it starts getting specialized there. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
Yeah, you don't have to let go your other mentor, but just get someone to help you and guide you as far as the structure stuff is concerned. Unless the guy that the other mentor is also qualified in structures and he can guide you there. A lot of people are would be able to do that. So it's not necessarily it's not a hard and fast rule that you must get a new mentor, depending on what your present mentor can help you with. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just here in the chat group, I see Wally has said a broadly defined engineering problems have the following characteristics. Broadly defined engineering activities have several of the following characteristics. Can you spend some time to elaborate on this, please? Okay, this is a section that is going to be, we're going to discuss this in one of our talks in the near future. So I think it will be in about 4 weeks' time. But you can also go into the document of RO2, STAPTP, PEPTPCEEN. Just look under the section for technologists, what's required engineering technologists. There they do discuss that there. Okay, and I see here, well, sorry I joined late. Are there any guidelines for people working in academia and research to get the registration from ECSA? And we have discussed that. And you can do that. I think, I don't know if you heard that. Okay, Jerry, come in.
Okay, thank you, Zai. I just want to ask also because I did qualify as an artisan but the past 10 years. So last year in 2020, I got my BTech, most of last year. So I just want to ask if that experience I did gain for the past 10 years, if it will count as a candidate, and how long must I be a candidate before I register as a professional?
Okay, and what field are you specializing in?
I'm in design now. I'm in design office now for the past 2 years.
Yes, but what discipline? Mechanical, electrical?
Mechanical, yes. Mechanical engineering, yeah. Yes.
So what were your artisanships that you worked on?
I was a boiler maker, so I was assembling in a railway line, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I worked on projects, yeah.
Okay, so you got your BTech now. So
yes.
please you can register now as a candidate engineering technologist. It's no problem because the benchmark is your BTech or advanced diploma or your BEng Tech to become a candidate engineering technologist. So you can register for that. You can stay as long as you want to, but remember, try and get it done. So get as much training, learning and training as possible at the level of a broadly defined engineering activity, which is described in that document RO2. I'm not going to give the whole rest there, but it's a very important document. Look under the engineering technologist section there.
Chris, the requirement that he must have 3 years after his BTech.
That's it. It's written in the document also there. So you must make sure it's got 3 years with 1 year of responsibility level. Okay. Does that help you, Jay?
So I must wait for 3 years before I register.
Yes, you can't just go.
As a professional.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, and the other one, okay. And I just want to go also, I'm doing some research now. Yes, I'm doing some research now, which is not relevant on design. It's about robotics, which is, I'm doing masters now on that, on robotics research and whatever. So I don't know if it will be relevant to be fitting on the design also, if I can combine both design and also robotics. Must I only focus on design?
That can help you out for your design. Also, it depends on what type of robotics you're doing. You understand? Is it relevant to your field of expertise and the mechanical? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, it's relevant.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else, Jerry?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Sina?
Thank you, Chris, again. So one guy, I remember his name Cedric, was asking about the mentors and supervisor. For mentor, is not necessary that he or she should be specialized in that field, structure or water. But supervisor helps the applicant day-to-day work. But he or she, supervisor, must be specialized. For mentor, is not necessary. Mentor has to see the application, guide all the outcomes, all the extra policy, things like this. Maybe mentor will meet him or her 1 or 2 times in a month. So, but mentor must be registered, PR Tech or PRN, whatever it may be. But supervisor is not necessary. Okay, Chris?
Yeah, because a mentor should actually be somebody in your field to guide you in the right direction.
Yeah, okay, Chris.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree with me, Dr. Sina, on that.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a mentor that designs roads and is going to work on structural analysis. One of your students. You can't guide him in the right direction. You understand? You agree with me on that?
And one guy was asking just now about the research project. Yesterday, I took interview for a PRN, and one guy was from very famous university, and he proved his research project that he satisfied, he meet all the ECSA 11 outcomes.
Yes, I've also
he was involved in the planning, design, construction. His project was like that. Project was something on the dam related, and all the ECSA components got generated. So yes, research project, it depends which type of project he has. If it is a practice-based research, he qualify, he can try.
Okay, yes, Chris. You see what I'm saying is there, Dr. Sina. A person that does research, he might be in a laboratory doing his research, but he has to do project management, he has to do the designing, all those outcomes. If he relates to that, which I agree with you, then he can become professionally registered.
Yes,
irrespective. It's not just to say if he's research, he does not do those outcomes. They do those outcomes. They do work with people on that. And how do they handle it?
Because we have a lot of academia in that various universities. They're registered.
Yes, there's a lot of academia, but to try and explain to them, I find out also that they tend to have a problem, especially with the social and the environmental. But if they can discuss that in the classroom concept, because like in social, they've got different cultures there, even the cultures, how do they handle it and how do they get, that is also engineering on its own. They can overcome that issue. It's not necessarily you have to be on site and you have to work with communities. You're working with communities while you're
You are
doing
right.
lectures too. And this is where the
Self-study
people don't
also
seem
helps.
to understand.
Yeah.
Beg your pardon?
Self-study, professional development also helps. Suppose you
Yes.
don't know environmental policy, you can study and you can prove
Yes.
you know everything.
We don't want you to, we want to see basically is, do you understand what are the outcomes? Have
Yes,
you
right.
done that? If you don't know something, you talk to your colleagues and you can say, for instance, environmental, I haven't done it, but I've spoken to my colleagues and this is what I understand. Then you know you've proven your competency in that.
Yeah.
If you know what
Okay,
is
Chris.
doing there. Okay, Dr. Sina. Is there any other further questions? Johan, it doesn't look like anybody wants to ask further questions.
I've just put the phone number up for asking to join the WhatsApp group, because there was a question about to be able to ask more questions. I've put the phone number up, 073-336-2471. Send a WhatsApp there, and in a couple of days I will check again and add you to the WhatsApp group, but ask what WhatsApp group do you want to join? Do you want to join the job portal, or do you want to join the the registration discussion group, or do you want to join both? You're welcome to join them. It's for free, and anyone can join them.
See, Palisa asked there, can we please give us email addresses in case we need assistance for further clarity on today's topic? That's where you get into the WhatsApp group and the registration group, and you can ask questions and we will answer them. It might not be answered directly straight away, but there is we will do it. Okay, Johan.
Anybody else for a question? Or can we close the shop for today? As we said, in 2 weeks' time, we hope to talk about the qualifications that is required and what to do if you don't have the right qualification, and if you have foreign qualifications and things like that. So,
Johan, can you just put up on the website where they can get this talk? They can get it.
It's on the chat.
Okay, it's on the chat. That's fine.
073-336-2471.
No, I mean, this recording. There's another website. Yes.
That recording, we'll put it on the website, on the WhatsApp groups whenever it's on the website, and then we'll give the website address again.
Okay, thanks.
That information is, I don't have it with me at the moment to put it on here. We will share with the report. We will be sharing the recording.
Yeah, it's actually it's now at the moment it is with a professional PCT. I mean professional CPD.co.za. But that will, you can also get all the other further previous talks that we had there also. And this is all done through iPad.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.
Engineering Technologists. So.
I'm going to stop the recording.